Okay.
Greetings to all listeners. I am Mary Shazad from Benazir Bhutto Shahid University, Riyadh. I'm pursuing my BS in Literature and Linguistics. Today, I'm here in front of you as an MC of the 101 session, question session with one of the charming personality, Dr. Peer Suhail Sarhandi. Dr. Peer Suhail Sarhandi is an associate professor and holds a PhD in mobile learning in English as a second or foreign language. Dr. Sarhandi has taught in the Middle East over 10 years. He has published his research work in national and international journals. His research includes mobile assisted language learning, computer assisted language learning, teacher professional development, education technology, and English language teaching. A very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mari.
Sir, there is an emerging curiosity among the youth nowadays that do virtual classes lack a personal connection between a student and a teacher. So, sir, please enlighten us with your thoughts on it.
Uh, Thank you, Mary, for taking me on. It's really wonderful to be here with you. The question you have asked is really like an emerging question, a burning question nowadays, because we are in the COVID situation, post-COVID situation, we can call it. And almost all of the universities are on the virtual learning or remote learning or distance learning, whatever you call it, though they have different differences in
Yes.
the basics and the characteristics. So your question is all about the social interaction, whether we have lost the social interaction or whether this remote learning does not have a human touch, or maybe we can call it the basically human feeling in that. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, sir, indeed.
Okay. So before we move on, before I get into the answer, first of all, we need to know what is social interaction. What are the characteristics of social interaction? Basically, social interaction in teaching has always been very important. Without the social interaction, there is no bond between the teacher and obviously the students. So teaching has always been a human activity, not just in the sense that it it is one of our most intimate relationship, but also the ideal teacher student relationship has some of the the characteristics, the requirements. The first one, it has to have trust level between student and teacher. Obviously you need to have this mutual understanding, mutual respect between student and teacher. And the most enlightening thing to me is the inspiration between a student and teacher. So if we talk about all these three aspects, and then we see, or then we measure how our remote learning has lost the human touch or it hasn't lost the human touch. So before we go on this issue, I want to highlight a few things. During COVID, as we all know, teachers have been frontline warriors in this war. And obviously, they did not have enough time to prepare themselves. They did not have enough time to learn the new ways of teaching online. They did not know even how to, assign yourself or assign students the material that is there in online learning. So a big round of applause for all the teachers and obviously the students as well, who were in this position, in this situation for almost 22 months. That is almost 2 years. So first of all, we need to appreciate those efforts. Now the
Mm.
question is, does online learning need a human touch? That is another big question. Does it really need? So obviously it needs. Let's understand the importance of human touch. What is the importance of human touch? If you take away the social element in teaching, or if you take away the social element in our interactions, obviously we are going to lose motivation. We are going to be unsatisfied with teaching and learning styles. Another thing, we are going to get distracted, demotivated, and a lot more. So it is very important to have human touch. First of all, we need to agree on that. It is really important. So now what is the solution to it? How to handle it? When I talked about social interaction, obviously in social interaction, you need to have a bonding. You need to have the mutual trust. You need to develop a rapport between a student and teacher, or even between one human to the other human. So what to do now? How to improve this human interaction? If I go back and if I recall, what is the system now? And what was the system almost 20 years ago, especially when it comes to teaching and learning processes? Before that, it was more like chalk and talk in the boundaries, the books, the teacher. Books are the only resources. Teacher is the only authority in the classroom. Learning does not does not consider out of the boundaries, out of the universities, out of the schools. They do not consider it as learning. Even now, like if I talk about the old mindset or the conventional teaching methods, we do not consider teaching outside the boundaries, outside university, outside the classes. But now that things are different, situation is drastically changed. So what is different? Now learning styles are different. Students have different learning styles. Student learns the way they want to learn. Students interact the way they interact. So my focus is again on interaction. So now what is happening here with the teachers? Obviously, teachers have to relearn all what they learned. Teachers have to relearn the way they teach. So interaction, especially the human touch, is missing currently because of the different lifestyles, because of different habits of new generation and my generation, I call it, the people who were born before 90s. So obviously we need to think about it, why we have lost this human touch. And when students are asking the question, or they keep on asking the same question, there is no human touch. We do not enjoy teaching. We do not enjoy learning processes. We prefer being there. A recent study, it was conducted in Harvard. I went through it yesterday. 87% of the students prefer to be taught physically, not virtually. The reason is one, whether it is Harvard or it is a small university like my university in Sakka, the question is same. The problem is same. The answer has to be the same. So what is the answer? Basically, online learning, if you see it, online learning can be extremely engaging and collaborative only and if implemented in the right way with the right teaching tools. Two things are very important. The people who are implementing it, they need to know the new teaching styles. They need to keep the new learning styles in mind, and the right tool for the right thing, the right tool for the right content. Now if you have stand alone content, if you share the content online and expect students to be with you, to feel the things, to feel your touch, obviously it's not going to happen. So just the content sharing, just the content providing, the provision of content is not enough. You need to have the first thing that I say, with the right way and the right tool, you need to apply multimedia tools in your lessons in order to have the interaction. Now, as I told you, interaction means to me three basic things: mutual respect, your basically it is your ensuring the trust of each other, and the third thing is obviously the inspiration. Inspiration, let's start with inspiration. How inspiration works: you inspire the people in their domain. If I am teaching you something that you are used to, then only you will be inspired with your teacher. If I am at A and you are at Z, obviously there is no inspiration because your level is already high. The latest things, the latest gadgets, if they are used in the right direction, pedagogically right, obviously it is an inspiration to the students. Students would feel that touch, that teacher is connected to me. Teacher is in my world. He is not an alien to my world. Mostly we have the same issue. Teachers are alien to this new digital generation. So in order to remove that barrier, teachers need to apply new teaching methods and with the right teaching tool. The first thing is inspiration, made it clear. Now the second thing is how to build trust. What is trust? Basically, if I am with you and you are on the other side, if you see me, you trust that he's right there. You can see my facial expressions. You can see how I feel about being with you. So obviously, then only you give the key to trust to your students. If you are online with them, if you are on video with them, if they can see your movements, if they can see your gestures, if they can see how you interact with them. So two things covered. Why we miss? Because we do not have this inspirational activities. Second thing, we do
Trust.
not develop the trust. Now the third issue is mutual respect. If it is all about teacher being the talkative person, teacher being only authority, whether it is online class or physical class, obviously students get demotivated. There is no connection, there is no mutual respect. For mutual respect, there has to be collaborative, interactive activities. It has to be discussions. You need to give a voice to your students if you want them to trust you, if you want them to be inspired, if you want them to have this mutual respect. The same happens most of the time. We have a question whether your students are online or not. I can like, okay, surely say 90% of the time my students are online if I am giving a session. Why? Because I keep them engaged. They know they have the ownership. They know they have a voice. If a teacher keeps on talking for 40 minutes, obviously students get bored because they know they have nothing to do with it and they will get the recording at the end. So recording is not the alternative of your being there. Even in the class, if people say physical class and online class, there is like a big difference. I say, no, there is no difference. Technology hasn't, like, technology has brought everything together. Whether I'm sitting here in Sakha or you being in Karachi, you can still see me. You know how I feel. You can, like, I can feel it. You are smiling, giving me gestures. You are nodding your head. It means you are there with me, engaged with me. You are part of the discussion and you know the purpose. You know the importance of it. It is not only sharing the slides that you can do anything, like you can do anytime, like YouTube. Why do you need a teacher if we have all the sessions on YouTube? It's only because of the human interaction. It is because of the human touch. Yes, Mary, if you have any other question, hope I gave you the answer.
Yes, thanks a lot for the information, and the curiosity is now done. It is very well
Yeah.
clear. But sir, the thing that I wanted to ask one more question is that how a teacher and a student can cope up with the lack of the connectivity, like because in the most of the virtual sessions, the teachers or the students are not keeping their videos on. Just as you have mentioned that keeping the video on makes a connection, makes a virtual connection in between, but if the video is
Right.
off, how can a student cope up with such a situation, and how can a teacher cope up with it? Vice versa, the
Uh,
question is.
Thank you, Mary. Again, like, this is the last thing that I wanted to say as a recommendation, but you have asked a question on it. So, what I would suggest to the teachers is, first of all, use multimedia tools. If it is not your video, it has to be your voice. The sessions that you plan, they have to be interactive sessions. You need to have this connection of either audio or visual. Obviously, if it is video, then audio is there. But if for some reasons, if you do not go online on video, then obviously the verbal communication is very important instead of just sharing the slides, because the content only brings the connection between you and a student if it is interactive. So the first thing is use multimedia tools. The second thing is I would suggest to teachers to promote discussions instead of lectures. So bring students together. You have to have peer collaboration, student with student interaction, student with teacher interaction, student with class interaction, students in a form of discussion forums and all. So second thing I would suggest is to promote discussions. The third thing is offer personalized learning. Personalized learning means adaptive learning. You need to know the needs of individual students. You need to create the activities that are fit for different students. It does not have to be like one size fits all. One size doesn't fit all in this digital generation. They have different preferences. So you need to keep those preferences in mind. So I think if we tackle these three things, if we consider these three things while planning our lessons, obviously there will be a human touch in your remote learning. It's not only about remote learning, I would suggest it for physical learning as well. So you need to have a human touch even in physical learning.
Perfect, sir. So thanks a lot. Do you want to add in something like anything that you want to say?
Thank you, Mary. I'm happy to see students like you, youngsters, being enthusiastic about learning, asking questions, and bringing these topics up so that the generation like my generation would learn a lot of things from these sessions. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir, for your precious time and your precious words. And